sleepless, in controlled spleen, a great ace hillbilly must have stone tripod in the jeans. Immune to things. In my dreams, I saw through the trees, over poison river walls, dark treacherous with this, but still my heart is a rock. Fighting going through old Parasite Gate, but there's a 24-hour clock watch, and I'm living too late. Think, I'm living too late. Sometimes life is like a new bar, plastic seats, beer below par, food with no taste, music rates. I'm living too late. I'm living too late. Once talking was my favorite while, but now I know conversation ends before it's done. Maybe I'm living too long. I'm living too late. I'm living too late. In the daylights, I see trouble in the streets. We're in catastrophe tonight. Walk down the devil's boulevard, but still my heart is hard. They said that soul is one evil and black, but I know the wrong. Think it's wrong. Been living too long. I'm living too late. Try to wash Chris' feet off my face, but it's engraved. I'm living too late. I'm living too late. Think I'm living too late. I'm living too late.
All right, welcome back to the Getting Lit podcast. Last week we discussed Haruki Murakami's The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle with Big Mac McCarthy. And yep, that again, this is another episode that's Fresta hosted. Don't worry, Cindy will be back soon enough. He's just busy and stuff. So he's got his new Substack, which you can read at newmythologies.substack, something like that. But today I'm joined by Will Samson, and we're going to discuss Vladimir Nabokov's Bend Sinister. Will, how you going?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I like that you busted out the Russian pronunciation of the name. Could not have been tough to do that myself. So,
no, that's it. We only have to say it once. We can say Nabokov for the rest of the episode because we're speaking English and it flows better to put the stresses in that way, I think. But
sure.
That is obviously like a sticking point amongst literature nerds is the correct pronunciation of Nabokov. I used to say Nabokov for ages, but apparently it's Nabokov. You got to put the stress on the bow. So this is kind of a interesting book for sure. I guess we'll get into the plot soon enough. The plot's pretty straightforward, but what were your thoughts on this book?
It was really good. I didn't really know what I was getting into before reading it. My only exposure to Nabokov up to this is just like I read Lolita like years ago. So it was a lot funnier than I was expecting it to be. Especially when you find out that it's like a dystopian thing. I thought, especially in the beginning chapters, were like pretty funny to me. I don't know if you felt the same way, but
oh yeah, he's funny. Yeah, for sure. Like there's just so many like just little aside bits or just one-off little lines that you could easily skim past and not notice. Like there was one bit where it was something about like the kind of the villain of the book, Parduk, and his like friends from school, and like how they were all just kind of like these oddball misfits or whatever, and there was like something about like one guy who accidentally beheaded his sister or something like that.
Yeah. I did get that,
in childhood. Yeah. It was like a guy that stuttered, another guy that stuttered in a different way, and a guy who had accidentally beheaded his sibling. And then there's like that. He's definitely because like this book's got a lot of he's the linguophile, I guess you could say, and there's a lot of playing around with language. He's obviously having a lot of fun with the English language. Like, I'm imagining as he learnt that in Russia, it became a big obsession with him, and he's really like he probably knows more English words than we do. You know what I mean? Like he'd be like,
oh, for sure.
Yeah. Like I had to because I'm reading it on the Kindle. So I was always like Googling translating, whatever you do, like use the dictionary to find out what this word is. And some things are obviously like neologisms that he's invented for the book. And there is like Russian, sometimes French, sometimes like hybridized language of like Germanic, Slavic kind of stuff. Other stuff which might be other Slavic languages. So he's playing around a lot with language. How did you find that kind of stuff? Do you think that adds to the book, or is that annoying? Or
I definitely don't find it annoying. It probably does add to the book. In terms of like specifically like foreign language, I would imagine it adds to the book, but I can't speak any of those languages, so I have no real idea what he's getting at with that shit, unfortunately. It would probably behoove me to learn a foreign language at some point to better grok things like that. I haven't made it around to deal with that yet. So
yeah.
Basically, when I got to the passage, it just kind of okay, that's move on to today.
Sorry, you just cut out for a second there.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, basically when I get to like the foreign language bits, I just kind of like, okay, I don't know what's going on here. Move on to the next bit.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Like even I'm not fluent in Russian, but I know a lot of Russian, and like I'd sort of read through it, and a lot of it would be like someone like a paragraph, someone speaking, right, and then there'd be like square brackets, and it would just be like part of the like what he's saying in Russian, like just to like I guess indicate to the reader that they are speaking Russian together. Even though it's never like clearly defined as that they're living in Russia, the country seems to be fictitious, I guess. Like it's well, I guess let's get into the plot just so everyone, because people listening, most of them probably haven't read the book, but so the plot is basically follow Adam Krug. It starts with his wife dying in hospital, like a kidney operation, and then he's like got to go back to his house. He has to cross a bridge, but because it's the where they live, Padokgrad, is basically been taken over by like a revolution headed by his former classmate Parduk, aka the Toad, and he was a bully to this guy in school. And anyway, so he has to get back to his child now, who he doesn't want to tell that his wife, that he doesn't want to tell the child his mother is dead. He then takes the child to the country, and the people he's staying with, they get arrested. And while they're telling him, you should escape the country, like it's not going to go well for you here with this revolution, they're arrested. And then he's like, what's all this about? Then he moves somewhere else. Like then another friend of his is arrested. And so people around him just keep getting arrested. And then eventually he gets like invited to a meeting with the Toad, and he's basically like, well, you're like a big, popular philosopher, one of our leading intellectuals. Like, we want you sort of to promote the new government, and like we'll offer you like this great position in the university, and a car, a bicycle, and a pantograph, which we can explain what that is later. And then basically he's like doesn't agree to it. He's given time to think, and then he tries to like procure like an escape from the country, which the guy is clearly a spy that he's interacting with there. And then he's arrested and his child's taken away. And then after that, he agrees. He's like, oh, okay, all right, I want my child back. I will, like, I'll sign whatever you want. I'll read the speech. I'll do whatever. And then they find out, oh, well, sorry, we actually got your child mixed up with some other kid. We thought he was an orphan, so we sent him to this place where prisoners and criminals can abuse him in a kind of a communal way to let off steam. And then
so he's dead.
And the child is killed, and then he's like, but they're like, well, we have an agreement, right? We've we'll this is like, we'll hang all the people responsible, and you can have, and we'll get a gold plated coffin for your child, but we still want you to read this speech and like agree to be our sort of intellectual for the state. And then he sort of goes mad, and then there's kind of like a delirious scene at the end where he sort of regresses into schoolyard sort of stuff, and it seems is shot in the ensuing confusion. Something along those lines, right? Anything you would add to that?
No, I think that's pretty much the long and short of it plot-wise.
Yeah, but there's obviously a lot more going on, and like in the introduction to the book, he says like this isn't meant to be some kind of like character study on the like Soviet Union or something like that. He's like, I'm not trying to make a political comment here. It's sort of more about like the relationship between the son and the father, and stuff about reflections and oblong pools and things like that. So I guess what do you? How did I don't know. I'll let you just jump in with anything.
Well, no, I was about to ask you if you believe that sort of angle that he takes in the introduction.
Yeah, I mean, it clearly is some kind of comment on like a totalitarian regime. Like, obviously, that's at least the like setting of the book. So whether or not he's just being a tool and being like, it's actually not about that. I don't care about that stuff. It's hard to fully get behind that, because it clearly, I don't think he's doing like an Ayn Rand novel either, where it's all about this is why communism is evil. But it's at least the setting. I guess I could take him at his word that he's like, that's not the main point of it. But like, I don't think you're an idiot for thinking that's what it's about. It's like a satire of like a totalitarian regime.
No, and I definitely would say that he's sort of being a shithead by taking that line in the introduction. So I think it's very funny that he does that, and he's justified to do it, just because I think it would be too easy to just produce the thing from just like this sort of past, sort of like generic dystopian novel, which I don't think it is, but like at the same time, to like negate that it is on some level of how government, and specifically based on like the little work we did about the actual like politics and like philosophy of like the government, just like a pretty like dating analog to like the Soviet. Yeah, that is.
Sorry, you're breaking up a bit here.
Oh shit. Okay.
It seems to be when you're closer to the phone, it sounds better, I think.
Okay, word. I'll try to stay.
Sorry, just repeat the last like 30 seconds of what you said. It might have come out on your end. I don't know how this thing records, but just in case it doesn't.
No, fair enough. But no, I was just saying that there are some clear analogs if you look at like the politics of like the government in the book with like the Soviet Union and in like the broad brush like sort of strokes of it. Like not if you don't really get like fine details of the politics of the government in the book, but like in the broad strokes, it would seem to be a less leaning government like the USSR as opposed to like, the Nazis or something.
Yeah.
So
and even
there is a clear thing going on there. Even if you ask Nabokov, he would probably extend his criticism to like both sides of that. That's clearly not what this specific book is about. It has more to do with, the Soviet government against some limited experience.
Yeah. Like, and even the title of the novel, Bend Sinister, like the etymology of the word sinister is like left. Like that's what it means in Latin. Like there's even one bit he's like, note the sinistrial aspect or something, and there's always things like left hand, there's like kissed him on the left shoulder, like there's lots of like things like that. So yeah, like again, I don't think it's someone's wrong to like be like, this is a criticism of like, a Marxist like a Marxist state kind of thing. Like there's like the equilism, the philosophy behind the Toad's government, like, and Padokgrad is the name of like Leningrad, like there's lots of allusions or whatever to that kind of thing. It doesn't seem to be, unless like the secret police and just the totalitarian aspect about it is the only things that you could say could be pointing at the Nazi regime or something. But I mean, it's all stuff that's within the Soviet Union kind of regime. So yeah. There's definitely that level to the book. And then there's just other levels like the constant wordplay, there's kind of like a chess game going on through it too. Like, I don't know if you caught that. Like there'll be sometimes references to like literal types of chess moves, like something like move my knight rook wise or something, or something that probably doesn't make sense, chess, but there was something like, move knight wise and like rook my thingo, and the whole thing is like, like it's like him versus Padok, or whether or not Padok's even like the chess master or whatever, like he could be like considered a pawn or something, but like there's always like he's capturing all the people around him and then constantly trying to like checkmate him into like signing the thing and delivering the speech. And even like the bit where there's like that complicated way he has to catch a bus and stuff like that, all the regulations around the buses is like sort of like a complicated chess move. So, and I think that's a theme through Nabokov novels. There's lots of stuff about like the chess problem, and I did some Googling of it quickly, and there was like someone saying something about it, some chess problem, but then it has to do with like basically like pedophilia, in the sense of like how to like get the child away from the adult or something, and you've like something like some sort of I didn't read enough of it to explain this very good, and obviously like he's touched on pedophilia in his most famous novel, so
and it does come up in it more directly later in the book as well, very briefly, but
yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, I mean, like we can jump around here, like, so might as well talk about that sort of scene where it's like, basically saying how like, they think his child is an orphan, and like, well, he has no ties to the community, so there's these criminals and stuff, so we give them like a kind of a relief valve where they let the child into some like sort of described as like a Greek arena kind of thing, and then like slowly like some prisoners start getting closer, and then they're like just like breaking his arms and things like molesting him and stuff like that, and then they're like usually they don't kill them, and then it's like watch them unite in this communal spirit, like they're like it's like talked about like that way, like it's helping them to become more communally minded. And like even like Paddock's like, we want to find that part of you where the handle is, like as in how to like control you, and he's like, there is no handle, like he's like, because they're so far just arrested his friends and stuff like that, and then that's not enough for him to like sell out, but once they take his child, that's the point where he's like, okay, all right, I'll do what you wish.
But no, I was actually referring to a passage in the book, and maybe I misinterpreted this and just assumed because I read Lolita that it was a younger girl that actually wasn't in the book. But there's a scene where, Krug is in hold, and there's like some way of.
Oh, sorry, you're just cutting out again.
Now.
Sorry, say again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you now. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I keep pulling back. I don't mean to do that. But no,
Okay.
there's like the young girl who's like, while he's in holding, like making like very forward sexual advances towards him, and like his internal monologue just being like, "Oh, I can't. Oh God. Oh jeez, I can't do this," and like him having to like turn her down, and then like eventually it's like it's broken up by like them. I think it's broken up
Oh,
when
you
they
mean
come to tell him that they
Mariette?
brought his son. Yeah, Mariette.
Yeah. Who's clearly a spy. Like,
Yeah.
like he's like kind of just thinks she's a slut or something. And then like, but he's like, she's like winking at this other guy he knows to be a spy, but she thinks that's because she's just like having sex with him or something. And he's clearly like, yeah, you don't really get a sense exactly how old she is, but she could be like 16 or something, or maybe early 20s. And then she's trying to seduce him, and he's like, oh, you know, if you keep, just warning you, if you keep this up, like it's going to be like a bestial explosion, you know, like he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that stuff's funny for sure too. Yeah, like she's just, and I always like a thing or two where she was like she's trying to seduce him right before he gets like arrested, and then she's like, well, you know, you don't, I feel like something bad's gonna happen, you don't, this is your last chance or something. And I was kind of like hoping, it's like, just do it, like and then he gets just like arrested right before he gets the chance, kind of thing. And then it turns out she's like the sister of that other woman that was like Hustaf's mistress, but then like Hustaf is arrested and killed. And then she's just complaining about like the noise and bother it was of listening to him get strangled to death.
Yeah.
Yes, it is funny. You're right. There's so many like funny things in the book. And there's lots of like flights of fancy kind of like going off on tangents about like Shakespeare and Hamlet. That stuff I kind of did it. It was sort of a bit like in one ear out the other, kind of like I was trying to follow along, but I just don't have much Shakespearean knowledge, so like it was sort of hard to like keep my mind focused during that bit. But I don't know, are you a Shakespeare guy? Do you have any thoughts on any of that stuff?
I need to revisit it because like the only stuff I've read is like the stuff they made us read in like high school, so like I have a very dim like memory of like reading Hamlet and like Macbeth. And then I recently rewatched the fucking Macbeth and then Othello adaptations of like Orson Welles did.
Right.
But that and like a couple of the songs are kind of like the only things I'm familiar with. But I did like one of the passages that you're referring to where like basically he's the guy that like Krug is talking to is like doing some weird etymology / like rearranging the letters of the words to be like, and now actually Hamlet just like inverted like Odysseus or something. Or like maybe it wasn't Odysseus, but fucking
Telemachus or something.
Telemachus, his son. Yeah. Which that I need to revisit that section because that was very interesting. Also, I thought that was like a very funny thing to have that character do. But it's one of many things that make me realize that I need to like revisit this and then just like dig way deeper. I really did think that was like an interesting target.
Yeah, it seems like one of those books that like you could reread it several times and you'll always kind of get something new out of it. Like, because I was sort of like listened to it on audiobook the last week, like just because I wasn't going to be able to finish it by this weekend otherwise, and it's not the best way to consume this book. This is sort of something that's better to be read, especially because there's like a lot of wordplay and stuff with spelling and things like that. It doesn't come through an audiobook, but like when it's pure plot, it's easy enough to follow in the audio, but when it gets off into those kind of digressions and stuff like that, especially when I'm just driving around at work, stopping all the time, like it was easy to lose the concentration. But I've also been just reading through again on the Kindle, so I'm going to basically have read it twice once I finish it. Like I read the last chapter again to just sort of like make sure I sort of got what was going on with that.
Word.
I guess another interesting aspect of the book is there is a first-person narrative aspect going on too, even though it's like it's referred to as Krug, it's not I, but then there is sometimes someone referring to themselves as I throughout the book. And I guess my take on that is it's literally Nabokov. Like he's the creator of this little like play, like and like he's the eye, like because there's one bit at the end where he's like, after Krug's son has been killed, and he's like, and this is when I like offered him mercy or felt some sympathy, and I descended along like the ray of light, and basically delivering him into madness, like, and that frees him from his like guilt and grief and stuff like that, and also allows him to sort of preserve his soul, so he never has to sell out to the like the Padukian government, but also like, you know, they're offering like, we'll free all your friends and 22 other prisoners, you know, like, and they're like, yeah, please. And he's like, wow, you fools, it doesn't matter. He's like, well, if it doesn't matter, just sign the thing and, you know, help get us freed. And then, so yeah, is that like, how do you feel about that? The first person stuff, is that what your take was? Or do you have a different take?
No, I think that's a pretty good take. And whether or not it's Nabokov specifically, I think the way that it's situated in the book, and I think there are other, I can't remember any specific examples, but I remember there earlier in the book being like other sort of like, you know, imagistic nods to like things being referred to in like specifically like literary terms that like situate whoever the I is there is clearly supposed to be the author. And whether or not that literally means Nabokov is sort of like not important. But no, I think there's an interesting thing going on there. There's a continuity between those two things that I don't know how to better articulate now, but is very much in line with like what I'm interested in with like reading most of the shit that I read. I wish that my words weren't failing me right now, but
yeah, you're a pretty like postmodern reader kind of guy, or like modernist stuff. Like you like Wyndham Lewis, and then kind of, which I've never read Wyndham Lewis, but like you're kind of pretty into that kind of like sort of. See, now words are failing me. Like, what would be the word? Like some kind of like subtextual kind of thing going on, like something along those lines. Would you say?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely interested in like people like Joyce and Wyndham Lewis and like the other like modernists, like the early 1900s. What I'm referring here more to would be shit like going back to like stuff in the early novel with people like Goethe specifically, and like this is also like a strain that you see in like. I guess Hamlet, specifically with like Shakespeare, which is where like Goethe gets a lot of the stuff that I'm interested in with like his novels. Well, like,
sorry, just silent again. Last 10 seconds went silent. Sorry.
Sorry that this keeps happening, but yeah, but like the play within a play aspect of Hamlet, and just like the quote from like Measure for Measure, you know, all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. It's like that type of thing. Where, like in Goethe's novels, especially like the Wilhelm Meister books, he like takes that and like builds on it in like a really compelling way. And I guess the things I'm trying to gesture at in Bend Sinister that I find really interesting about like the narrator and like the literary references, that it seems connected to those sort of things. It's just like the bureaucracy and like the world, like the government in like Bend Sinister is like sort of being framed as like a literary construction, and the intrusion of the figure. Again, my words are failing me. I don't know a better way.
Sorry, it's just again, it's cutting it out. last 10. Yeah. So,
but no, the whole first person narrative thing seems tied to like the Goethe shit and like the Shakespeare shit there. I find that very compelling. It's one of the reasons that I should revisit it. And it's disappointing to me that my words are failing me as much as they are right now.
It's mainly your own failing. Your words are great.
Well, it's both things, but no, I think someone who spent more time with Nabokov generally would have a lot more to say here than I do, unfortunately. But it's definitely really good. And I think there's like a lot that's actually going on. But again, I just need to spend more time with it.
Yeah. You've read Lolita, right? That's the only other Nabokov.
Yeah, and it's been like fucking 7.
Oh, okay.
Fucking 8 or 7 years ago. So a long time. But yeah.
Yeah.
And you've read Lolita, and then Nin was the other one that you said you read?
Nin, yeah, and Pale Fire.
And Pale Fire, yeah.
Yeah, you'll love Pale Fire. Penin's kind of like it's a really quaint kind of, unless there's something I just completely missed that's going on subtextually, but it's like really quaint, just like he's just like a college professor living in some like guest house or like boardroom kind of thing. Like, you know, he's boarding in some old lady's house, and it's just lots of like eating like sandwiches in the garden and complaining about his like college course and stuff like that. But I think like the character of Panin also shows up in Pale Fire. You know, like Panin might even be like kind of auto fiction or something along those lines.
Okay.
But yeah, Pale Fire you'll love just because it's like autistic and like, you know, it's like written as, you know, the like premise behind it, right? Like,
yeah, that it's a guy who's like doing an analysis of, you know, like as you go on with the novel, like there for that to get revealed that like this guy had this weird like obsessive like relationship with like the guy who wrote the fucking poem or whatever, and there's this whole like additional like metatextual like fucking narrative going on like behind the scenes of his analysis that, again, this is like shit that ties in to like what we're talking about, like the Goethe and like the fucking Hamlet play within a play thing. That if I read that book, I would have a lot more to say here once again. But all of that is very much in line with my interest. Yeah.
What you're saying sounds correct. Yeah, it's just like like a poem, and then the guys like it's just like the notes, the footnotes to the poem. Like there's an introduction, and then there's the poem, and then there's like the footnotes to the poem kind of thing, and it's just like the poem's clearly about his neighbor and his life and stuff like that, but the guy writing it is just like, actually, this is about the country that I'm from, which is like a made-up place called Zembla, and like
that's right.
And then like as you go on, it's like it turns out like the king escaped the country during the revolution, and maybe like, you know, there's a connection to this. Maybe this country is Zembla. No, I don't know if that's exactly true, but like I could imagine that. And then like as you find out, like, oh, actually, this guy writing it, he's like the Zemblian king, but then it's never clear, like maybe he's just like mad and then none of this stuff really exists or anything. And like, but there'll be like bits where it's like, you know, this passage, which is clearly about the neighbor's daughter or something, but it'll be like, actually, yeah, it's about like the time that blah, 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 this happened with the king in Zembla and all of this stuff. And then there'll be another thing where he's like, yeah, I don't know what this part's about. Like that'll be the footnote. So it's like the ultimate unreliable narrator kind of like novel. And like took me a while to get through it, and I was sort of like, it's painful. It's like, you know, it's sort of like, you know, Infinite Jest would be something you could compare it to just because of the footnotes, but Infinite Jest is just much more like fun to read. But like Pale Fire is something like at the end you just like feel really rewarded to read it. And then like the movie Blade Runner 2049 has got this Pale Fire thing going on where like there's one bit where like the hologram girlfriend is like wants to read to him from Pale Fire, and he's like, you hate that book, and she's like, yeah, but you like it kind of thing. And then also like the check phrase when he has to like check in with the like handler or whatever, they're like doing that thing, and he's like within cells interlinked or whatever, in cells interlinked. But yeah, like that's from like Pale Fire. Yeah, also an incel movie. So I don't know if Villeneuve is that clever that that's what he's doing. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. So yeah, and it's like, I guess the thing is, the tie-in between them, as far as I can tell, is that like in Blade Runner 2049, like the Jake Gyllenhaal character, like he thinks he's the one that like Oracle or whatever is having the dreams about, and he thinks like that those memories in his mind are like his real memories. So he thinks he's kind of the main character, but then you like find out that like he's not. The same with Pale Fire, where the neighbor who's doing the commentary is the poem and stuff's not about him at all. And in fact, you get the sense that like the neighbor didn't like him, and his wife especially didn't like him, and like just sort of tolerated him, you know? And then somehow legal maneuvering, he got the like right to like to release the poem and do the like commentary on it. So yeah, it's very funny. Like definitely just a very funny author. Like, and you know, it probably gets funnier as like, you know, your knowledge of literature and all that stuff and Shakespeare increases. So yeah, Shakespeare's not something I know a lot about. We recently did an episode on The Tempest with Zach, and I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not really sure what I'm going to say in this episode.
But no, I'm glad that you introduced the Blade Runner 2049 Pale Fire sort of connection there. It reminded me of like the Zembla stuff and Pale Fire, because I think that not exactly what's going on, but you see sort of like an inverse of that in Bend Sinister, where like you have these characters who like think that they're the main character or whatever, but then you find out it's like the thing progresses. It's like the world that they're living in is like a complete construction. Like they're like in a fantasy land that has no connection to reality and are like even making up a country. Like what you have in Bend Sinister is like imposing its history on the people by way of specifically like a bureaucratic process that I think is sort of what's causing all of the well, not think, but like they're imposing like a false view of your reality on people like Krug and like making reality like contort in these weird ways. And I think that sort of very clearly illustrated at the beginning of the book when trying to like cross the bridge, where like he needs to like present like the paper to like the guard to like let him through, and like they make him walk all the way back, despite the fact that like no one else is around, and like they didn't mean to do that. Just this false construct of like the law that's like preventing them from like being able to cross. So he goes back, comes back with the papers, and like some other dude who's followed him, and like by then he just like walk through without. I don't know, did that make sense?
Yeah. It did cut out a little, but I'm guessing it's gonna actually record on your end. So, because like it is a funny. It's only a little bit of cut out. I got what you're saying.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but like it is a funny scene where he's like, he goes to cross the bridge. He's got this like pass, and then the guards on one side are illiterate, so they can't even read. And then they somehow let him across. He gets to the other side, and they're actually quite literate. They seem kind of like pompous. And then they're like, yes, you see, but no one signed that you'd crossed on the other end, so we can't let you cross because you didn't get the other end guys to sign. And he's just like, well, they're illiterate. Like, what, do you want me to go back? He's like, can't we just turn this bridge around and pretend I've crossed from this side kind of thing?
Exactly,
and then they're like, no, and he goes, fine. He crosses all the way back, and then they like basically somehow he and some other guy swap documents and they sign each other's documents. Then he has this annoying guy follow him, and then he gets to the other side of the bridge and the guards aren't even there anymore. And it's just like this kind of like that's kind of Randian in the way of just like the ridiculousness of this like overcomplicated bureaucracy with like, illiterate guards, but then people being like overly like to the letter of the law kind of following it. Like, it's very. There's even one funny bit where he's like asking them to sign. He's like, just put like anything, an X, a restroom curlicue, or a gammadion, which is just a type of swastika. It's like, I don't know if you like a Philfot cross. I think a gammadion and a Philfot cross are just like reversed types. I think they're like the ones where like one arm is like longer and then the short, or something like, I don't know, some kind of, if you look it up in some esoteric book, you'll get what all that's supposed to mean. But I just thought that's funny, like just a little hidden thing. Instead of like writing swastika, he put gammadion in there.
Yeah, for sure.
What else is there worth discussing in this thing? I guess there's constantly like the anagrams of everyone's names, like, and they make it explicit, whereas like the Paddock is always like calling everyone like it's like Adam Krug, and they'll call him like Gumacrad and things like that, like which got me thinking, like, was Paddock's name like some kind of like anagram that would like translate to something in Russian or something like that? Like it's not Toad is Jabba in Russian, so I don't know if it's something in Toad is that in German or something like that. But I was like sort of looking around, and there was like an anagram that came up was like Dupak, which was apparently some like Soviet like head of the Stanislavski theater or something in Moscow in the Soviet era. So it's like maybe he's like, because he's like the head of the theater with the actors on the play. Not really confident in that connection, but it could be.
No, I think that's probably there. I think I remember it might have been that or something else. I think there's a more explicit reference to that somewhere else in the book I can't play. But I mean, again, this ties into like the sort of play within a play type bit that we've been talking about. And there's an element of like the bureaucracy is like forcing them to like again like exist within this constructed reality that has no relationship with like the real world, as we saw in the bridge scene. It just results in like this absurdity, and eventually like the death of like his son in like the most insane way possible, which I think is very like symbolically loaded. Just like this bureaucracy is driving people to like literally tear apart like the children that are supposed to be like the future. It's like it's the society destroying itself. Is what you're seeing poetically there. Yeah, it's when you think about it, it's really horrifying, but when you read it, it's very funny.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's a funny novel. Like it's not like depressing or anything. It's not like reading fucking the Gulag Archipelago or something. Yeah, there's other things too, because like his name Krug means circle in Russian or circumference. And then he's referring to his son as like Radega Maya, which is like my rainbow. And like that's like an arc, it's part of a circumference. Like his son is sort of part of it. And then even Parduk, I was like, this is a pretty tenuous connection. But like if you showed that word Parduk to a Russian who didn't understand what the like Roman alphabet, it would say Radik, like Radik, because like I don't know, P is an R in Russian and et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So they could potentially read that as Raduk, and then Radik, and I was like, well, that's kind of like radius, like maybe there's the relationship between the radius and the circumference, but then also maybe like it's like Radik, short for like radical, like because it's like a radical government. Again, these are tenuous connections. I have no idea.
In Radix also like it means particularly like root in like originally, right? I believe that's like
what, fruit.
No, root.
Oh, root. Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
But no, I mean, as far as like the radicals angle on that could be. I can see that relating to, but I think the more thing that probably was intentional and seems very relevant is like the Russian transliteration of like the name Paddock. I think is something he definitely would have intentionally done. Like, again, my knowledge of Nabokov is kind of limited, but like I am aware that he's done like I believe pretty extensive lectures and he's teaching like on Joyce, and this is like shit that Joyce absolutely does in like fucking Ulysses and shit. So this is that seems like something very intentional doing it. I take a stab at it.
Yeah. I mean, like whether or not I've got it right, I think he's doing something along those lines. Like, he might be like, "Oh, you're close," but it was actually this thing I've never heard of or something. But like, yeah, I think for sure. I haven't read any Joyce, and it's interesting. I was reading Welbeck's The Possibility of an Island, and there's a bit in there where he's basically like shitting on Nabokov, being like, yeah, he's fucking fake poet bullshit. Like he's, thinks he's like James Joyce, but like he's not Irish enough or something like that. Like, and I don't know if that's Welbeck's opinion or his character's opinion, but like I'm guessing it probably is his opinion.
I'm going to give him a pass and assume that's the character's opinion, because if that's his opinion, he can go fuck himself. But it's still a very funny thing to say.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, too, he could be, maybe these things don't work translated into French. I don't think Welbeck speaks much English. Like, I think he has the common European person's, like, general slight handle on it, like, from school. But I don't think he, the Red Scare interview, they had a translator. He didn't, I don't think he speaks enough English. So he's not reading things in English, I don't think. So it might not work. Because that would be another difficulty, would be translating this book into another language. Like, he's, naturally a Russian speaker, but like natively whatever, he's like, he's very good at English and French and probably other languages. So I mean,
to double back to the Paddock thing real quick.
Sorry.
Just to double back real quick to the Paddock thing though, I just wanted to say real quick, you should have more confidence about your initial analysis there, because I do think you're right about that. But anyway, okay. You can continue.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm just like hedging my bets, like.
Yeah, don't do that in this instance. I think you actually are right about that.
All right. Well, this is going to be the the foremost podcast episode on this book, because couldn't find anything to do any research. I was like hoping I'd find some. I thought there would be heaps of podcast episodes on it, and maybe there are, but I couldn't. There was that, I don't know if you ended up listening to it, the London Review of Books.
I did actually end up listening to it, and it was actually way more listenable than I was expecting.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get anything like super informative for like this podcast from it, but like whoever was being interviewed there was like a pretty chill person, and like they talked about like the sort of like the spicier aspects of like fucking Nabokov's body of work, and they did like a fair job of like talking about like how sort of like twigged that probably could to a certain extent of it, but also that doesn't negate it. But at the same time, like it is also like something like Lolita is also like a book where like the guy comes on like an underage girl's leg, and like that's like verbatim how like the person says it. So like it's actually like not like overbearing and actually like mostly charming and funny.
Yeah, no, Lolita's such like a fun book. Like it just has this like driving romp vibe about it. Like it's just like a holiday kind of thing, And just for being again, like I don't agree with Welbeck if he literally doesn't think that Nabokov's a good writer, like because he created like one of the most popular books of the 20th century that's about pedophilia, and people think it's like beautiful. Even like libtards and stuff love it, like obviously you get people who are like that's obscene, and it comes from both sides. It could be your Matt Walsh conservative types who are just like, no, this is degenerate, and you can be your libtards who are like, that's exploitative and we shouldn't like blah blah blah. But I think I think he is a master of the craft, and hopefully Welbeck was just playing around with the character in that book.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, look, Welbeck, like, I don't know if you've read much of his stuff, but I mean, like, he's like a atheist, sort of Marxist, essentially, in some of the ways, some of his opinions. He's just the best atheist Marxist that is out there. And he's
the only thing I've read by him is Submission, which I thought was fine. But I really want to read Possibility of an Island specifically, and then also his book on as well.
Yeah. You'll love Possibility of an Island. That's great. I'd recommend Platform and Mapping the Territory. Those are all kind of the best ones. Submission I've read 3 times now. And like it gets better every time you read it. Like it was the first one I read and I was kind of like, I sort of get what people are talking about with this, like on Twitter, but like, cause you're expecting it to be like full on like Muslim terrorist bombing sort of shit, whereas it's like way subtler, kind of like just like ambient, like what's that Melvins album, Hostile Ambient Takeover or whatever, like it's like
I think that's the one they did with like Lustmord, right? Am I remembering that right?
Around that time, I think that is a different album because that one's more noisy, whereas Hostile Ambient Takeover is sort of just your 2000s era kind of Melvins. It has that great song Skin Horse with the like auto tune.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, to describe Submission real quick, I mean, my takeaway from it was mostly that, like, it reminded me of, The Stranger by Camus, but with, like, with, like, the Muslim shit happening, like, in the background, almost. And then at the end, it, like, kind of makes that more, like, an overt thing. But, that was my, like, take of what the vibe was there, I guess.
I'm glad you brought up Camus, because that allows me to segue into another part of this conversation, which is the Fall album titled Bend Sinister, which is the reason for doing this is I'm a big fan of the group The Fall, as are you. We did on your old podcast, which was once called No Future and then became Resident Life Enjoyers, or Resident Life Enjoyers 151. You also had like 93 sometimes. So
yeah, because I tried to do like a bunch of like different like going down.
Sorry, it's cutting out again.
I put like the different numbers at the end to do like a bunch of different like Twitter groups and different rabbit holes, but like it got too convoluted and I wasn't putting out episodes off.
Yeah, those aren't online anymore, are they?
No, but only because I stopped paying for the SoundCloud subscription.
Oh,
otherwise it'd still be out. Yeah.
Fair. Well, we did do an episode on The Fall many years ago, or a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do some, and The Fall is named, the name of that group is from the Camus novel, The Fall. Originally they were going to be called The Outsider, which is another Camus novel. The reason I was doing this, I sort of like, there's a lot of books referenced by The Fall throughout their albums, so I was sort of like thinking like doing a sort of do a few of those sort of novels. I was gonna do The Fall by Camus, but I read it and didn't particularly care for it. I don't know. You've read that book, right?
It's been forever. I felt similarly about it when I initially read it to how you did, or I guess you. But I need to revisit it because, again, I think that one's been over like a decade since I read it. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I think you're probably going to like it less because you get the sense that he's a very, like, you got to read him when you're like 21 kind of thing. It's like William Burroughs and that, like.
And then even then, I wasn't like super impressed by him at 21. So.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Just it's tedious. It is not a long novel. It's like 80 pages or something, but it like took me forever.
No, but it dragged.
Yeah. It's just a guy going to a bar and then just talking about what a piece of shit he is to some other guy in Denmark or something. And I forget like exactly, it's existentialist prose or something like that. So I'm not going to cover that one because I don't know what to say about it and I didn't enjoy it that much. But but they do have an album so The Fall has an album from 1986 called Bend Sinister. Obviously, pretty certain it's titled, from this book. So yeah, like, did you find any like connections between the actual album itself and this book?
Not between that specific album necessarily. Like, nothing jumped out at me when I re-listened to it in connection to the book. But I do think there are definite connections thematically with what's going on in the book Bend Sinister and like Marky Smith's whole sort of like broader sort of worldview and like thematic interests, I guess. Yeah. Because like the whole like political and bureaucratic apparatus within the novel, the whole impetus behind it is like to enforce this ideology that's like get everyone to be like, just like the most like normal they can be, I guess. Normal is the wrong word, it's a different word. Basically, there's like a love trying to bring homogenous everyone.
Sorry, I missed the last 5 seconds there.
God damn it.
I'll do this. No. I'll hold up the pen if I'm like can't hear you. So if you just move forward.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be
I'll pay attention.
So there was so say the last like 10, 20 seconds again.
But no, there's this thing in the novel where like the political apparatus and like the bureaucracy are very like the ideology behind them is like to bring everyone like from the top to like the bottom to like average everything out and to bring everyone to like the same sort of level. Which I think is very much something that Marky Smith is constantly sort of like fighting against, this sort of like leveling aspect of like modern society, I guess. And I don't know, it's sort of like, I don't know if you've read the Memorex of the Kraken article that like Mark Fisher wrote on The Fall.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm not going to try to like go deeper on this now just because I'm going to butcher it, just because I'm tired. But I would recommend anyone read that article by Mark Fisher. There's a passage in there where he sort of like very clearly, like, beautifully sort of elucidates what I'm alluding to here in Marky Smith.
Okay.
And I think there are also connections between that and another figure that Smith was very much interested in, which was William Plate, and his sort of like fight against society, sort of like trying to bring everyone down to the level of like what he termed the natural man. With the natural man and like Blake's sort of like worldview is sort of like the man who's like just like at the level of like bare life that is only living like on necessity, and that there's no like surplus, there's no imaginative aspect to that.
There's actually a Russian term that corresponds to that, muzhik, which used to mean kind of peasant, sort of person of like serf kind of thing, but in the current like usage of it, there's muzhik and baba, which basically like that's male and female versions of it, which basically corresponds to that, just like someone who is just like a human animal, like just the bare minimum without like any kind of like enlightened sort of soul aspect, something along those lines. That's very much the type of thing that Blake's talking about there. Yeah, and there's one aspect of it where he sees like the society that he's living in at the time, sort of trying to reduce everyone to that level, but at the same time explicitly framing that as like, trying to think of the right way to put this. That emphasis on it like being natural is in and of itself a sort of illusion, because like what Blake would argue is that like these imaginative faculties that like
lead us to aspire to like higher things and to like actually create our civilization or something. That is actually like a natural part of what it means to be human. And to like reduce things to a state below that is to actually like cut off some vital part of what it means to be human, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, maybe that was an unnecessary
like,
digression. But
he doesn't. I'm not read Blake, but isn't he saying he's got some quote like basically like, you know, like a sort of a building is just like is natural as like a spider web is natural, you know, or something like that. Something along those lines, or maybe like a factory is something like. Am I getting? Is this the right guy I'm thinking of?
I think you're thinking of the right guy. I can't think of the specific quote. The only thing I'll say is I definitely don't think a factory would have been the image.
Yeah,
it probably would have been like
like kind of like Lord of the Rings, like churning up the like landscape in like Jerusalem or something like that. Isn't that like there's like a whole thing about these factories being like these blights on
dark satanic, dark satanic hill.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, like you know what I'm getting at. Like basically, like man's like higher, you know, creative drives and stuff like that. And like yeah, I guess like the fall can be sort of saying like yeah, even like those creative drives can be reduced down to that same like unthinking just automatism of like, you know, like even on like I think it's not on the record, but on the like if you get the expanded edition of Bend Sinister, there's that Tech Autopilot or whatever song, and he's like, I think this computer stuff's gone too far, like the auto tech pilot's not able to land.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Great track, by the way. Like what's going on with like the drums on that was really, really incredible. Just like where it starts to like fall apart and then just like snap back. Very cool. Sorry.
It's one of those albums that actually, like, I usually don't care for the expanded editions of records. I'm like, no, whatever the original record they cut was, that's it. But like this one, like the best songs they kind of cut out of the like Living Too Late is not on the record, and
which is one of their best moments from that period.
Yeah,
and similarly does a weird like sort of where like the fucking I guess where the chorus should be. There's this weird deconstructed sort of like abstract thing where you just just keen, and then again it just like goes on song like immediately after that second.
Yeah. I might.
Those are always the moments musically that I like the most in that band. Is when they do some freak shit and then just like revert back to like the normal sort of thing, I guess.
Yeah. They're always sort of like so not fucking with the listener exactly, but yeah, there's like some kind of like recontextualizing and putting things into a different perspective to like because they'll boogie or whatever, and then it'll just go into this like atonal thing, but like through repeated listens that atonal part kind of gets better. And they also, you know, obviously they do that thing where like they'll have like a lower quality recording like just like dubbed over the top, superimposed, and so you're hearing like proper like studio recording, and then like they'll just be like dictaphone kind of recording quality thing, and it's like kind of gives you this like alternate perspective. It's like you sort of like shift as a listener, like your ears like take like a different angle kind of at it. And
no, 100%. Yeah, Paintwork is a really good example of that.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something about the fall. I've lost it. So if you've got anything to jump in, go for it.
No, I do. To sort of clarify what I was talking about with Mark E. Smith said it a little bit more. I think what Mark is specifically like fighting against, and I think this is something that Fisher touches on in like the essay, is that because he's coming from like a very specific like working class Canadian background, and there's this expectation for like any like sort of working class musician to either, when they enter into the realm of music at that time, to either like become just like sort of oi punk like Sham 69 type thing, or if they're like more politically which where did you lose me on that?
The oi punk.
Okay, so yeah, there's this expectation for like a working class like British musician at that time to either do the oi punk thing, or on the other end, if they have more like, if they're more politically minded, to do like a Billy Bragg social realist type like political chant sort of thing, which I think Mark very clearly rejected both of those things.
Or to do like reggae, ska kind of stuff, which again he sort of like not parodies, but you know what I mean. does it better in like the Curious Orange album. Like,
oh yeah, no, for sure, he does it way better. Oh shit. But yeah, no, I think he was trying to do something altogether more imaginative than that. It was, I think, on some level, was an attempt to like push everyone around him into like a higher sort of imaginative stage, and to hopefully get people to, do something that's more, I don't know, imaginative. I guess there's a better
which was
way I could use
probably in vain to a degree, because when bands tend to be like influenced by the Fall, they just tend to do that like rhythmic plodding thing with like a chick sort of yelling atonally over the top of it.
Yeah.
Not that I'm sure
Or
he
you get
has
things like
bands to do it. Like they don't sound like the Fall if they're actually properly influenced by the Fall. But when a band sort of tries to sound like the Fall, that's when they're usually not that good.
Yeah, for sure. That's when you get like, I mean, that's how you get like most of like the fucking post-punk revival shit from like the past. And then also like part of Blur is like a version of it. Like they take like a sort of Fall type thing, but like making it a much more like directly sort of like pop hooky way in a way that's like really saccharine. And they're trying to do like anything.
Which band, sorry, did you say was that? So which band was that you said was doing that?
Blur, the Britpop band Blur.
Blur.
Yeah.
See, I was an Oasis fan as a kid, so
I was never as big
I liked Blur too.
Yeah, but I've never been a huge fan of any of the Britpop stuff, but I did come around recently to that first Oasis album though. I do think it's a dumb porn record.
Yeah, the first two and even the third Oasis record are pretty good. Like as a kid, I could never find the first one in a CD store because I was a bit late to the game. Like 94 was when like Morning Glory came out, and I was like grade 1, and I was really into it. And then like the second one came out in like 90, or the third one, Be Here Now, came out in 96. So I had those two, but like I could just never find the Definitely Maybe. So I didn't hear that until I was like 20 something, and then I was like, oh yeah, like Cigarettes and Alcohol, Supersonic, like all that stuff, so good. Like, and like like people always sort of talk about Oasis as like this Beatles ripoff band, but to me they're always more of a Kinks influence in their stuff. Like they sound more like the Kinks, and even the title Definitely Maybe. There's a Kinks song from the 80s called Definite Maybe. It's just like Liam had that like John Lennon haircut and shit, like or whatever, the glasses in the 90s, and probably in an interview was like, yeah, we're really into the Beatles and stuff, which was in the 90s. People forget, like, because everyone now likes old school music. If you liked music that was like more than 5 years old in the 90s, it was like, what the fuck are you doing, you like old fuddy duddy, like, so that would have been like really like, yeah, we're youngsters, but we like music from the 60s, which was like closer than to what the 90s is to us now, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't know. There are a decent number of moments that are like pretty Beatles of collected though in the Oasis discography.
Oh yeah,
but I mean, you're right to say that there is slightly more going on there. There's more of like a, Cigarettes and Alcohol specifically is like much more of a Stones type thing.
Yeah, they're like syncretic and all of that kind of like, British invasion movie music. It's not to say that they're like not at all influenced by the Beatles. I think more what I'm getting at is that like people overlook the Kinks influence, and like even especially the fact they're two brothers that hate each other. Like that's the
Kinks. It's very Kinks coded. It's incredibly Kinks coded.
Have you ever heard the Kinks song "Hatred," a duet?
No, I haven't. It sounds like something I should hear.
Dude, it's from their last album from 93. I can't Phobia is what it's called. And it goes for like 9 minutes or something, and it's just like this pub rock kind of track where it's just like Dave and Ray taking alternate verses, and they're just like about how they hate each other. And it's just like it's like I know you've got the dirt on me, but if you spill the beans on me, I'll only have one remedy. I'll spill the beans on you. I've got the mouth. It's like things like, sorry, I've fucked up the lyrics, but like just things like that. Like, if you're not abusing me, fuck, I can't remember the lyrics, but you should listen to it. It's great. It's a really good song, and it's just like it's like legit. Like they hate each other, and then after that, they're like, yeah, we're not doing any more albums. And then they did a few years ago try to do like a reunion thing, and I think maybe they played one show in London, and then it's just like one of those things where it's like tour's cancelled, like which is I think how the Oasis reunion went, right?
I don't know. I haven't been following it, unfortunately. I thought that it was getting more traction than that, but maybe they did just fucking break up like after 3 years. That would be a damn. I just said it would be insanely funny if that's what happened.
Oh yeah. It's just like, yeah. Anyway, yeah, like that is a tangent, but yeah, like I do think, yeah, they're very. And like, you know, the British sort of bands that I like always seem to have like kind of like the modern sort of Britishy garagey bands. Like they always sort of have sort of like a Kinks sound to it, like the Baby Shambles when they're good. They sound pretty Kinksy. Like I don't like all their stuff, but they actually, you know, despite other than the fact of Pete Doherty being like kind of like a funny fuck up, like you know, they actually have some alright songs, I think. And they have like a sort of a sinister Kinks sound to them. Anyway, to get back on track, I guess back to Bend Sinister, the Fall album. Like, how do you sort of feel about that album? Like in the terms of like compared to other Fall albums?
I think it's really good. I think I'm trying to think of the other album that come out.
The Friends Experiment.
Weirdly, I think Ben has just play a better album, but I think it's better for Experiment.
Sorry, you said you like the Friends Experiment more. Is that what you said?
I think I like it because I spend more time on it. I
like it more too. Yeah. Oswald Defense Lawyer is such a fucking good song.
It's so
That's the best song about JFK in the history of the world. Like.
Oh, and then fucking Bremen Knocked. That's one of the best Fall songs of all time. That riff is incredible.
That's when they get like Manchestery, you know, like that kind of like almost like danceable, like indie rock kind of stuff.
You say that, but like I did like not a full listen. I think like Bremen. Yeah, I did like to listen through up to Friends Experiment like last year. And I feel like Bremen knocked off that, and then like Coffin on fucking Wonderful and Frightening World. I realized on the listen through that like those two songs, like a couple other tracks here, there are basically just like giving the blueprint to the Jesusism for what they ended up doing in the 90s. Yeah. Like it's so much just the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't rock that way earlier.
Right. Yeah, see, Jesus Lizard's not a band I've listened a lot to. They're kind of a bit too thuggish in sound for me to really get into. But I know they're like touring here soon, so I was like, maybe I should get into them and then go see them.
Maybe visit some of that older stuff, but I definitely don't think we need to go see it.
Yeah. Well, it's like they're in that same category for me as like Killdozer and stuff like that, where I'm like, yeah, respect, but it's just a bit too like non-melodious and thuggish. But I'm not. They might have stuff that I don't know of that I would really like, for all I know.
I don't know. I grew up like on those two bands specifically. Like I like.
Okay.
So that sort of thuggish sort of zone that you're talking about was kind of like my bread and butter.
Do you like the Australian band Lubricated Goat?
I've never heard of them, but if they're in this similar zone, I could probably.
You'll like them. They're a bit more like dirty, like they're like sort of butthole surferys in a way of that just like evil psychedelia kind of stuff. But they're like really like the album Paddock of Love is a pretty good one to start with. It's like pretty thuggish and sounds like it was recorded in a toilet cubicle. Not in the Jonathan Richman way, but like
damn.
Like I remember the first time listening to it on acid and just being like, holy fuck, this is some pig fucking music if I've ever heard it. Like there's also the Australian band Grong Grong, which are like not as good, but the story is funny behind them. Whereas like Jello by Afro put their record out on like Alternative Tentacles, but like the story is basically like the singer or something like just like on a drug binge, just passed out on a train and just woke up in this town called Grong Grong. Like, and that's how they got the name from. But then he like ended up like, I think they're about to go on like a US tour, and he just like ended up into like a drug coma, and then eventually woke up and then they did like a tour where he's just in a wheelchair and he's just like getting out of the wheelchair, just like crawling on the stage and stuff like that. So it would have been a really good thing to see.
No, for sure. And not dissimilar to Marky Smith right before he died.
Yeah. Probably just not as much like amplifier fiddling.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, see, like, Bend Sinister, as far as the Falls discography goes, is definitely not my favorite, but it's sort of like, it grows on me each listen, and it's, you know, they're in that kind of like gothic mode at that point, which, like, the vibes do match kind of Bend Sinister. It is kind of like this sort of dark gothic book, but with like sort of funny moments, and like, you know, like, they have like the Mr. Pharmacist cover, which is kind of like your sort of like the Count 5 style, like 60s kind of garage sort of freak out track. And you know, the shoulder pads thing is kind of like a nice little light reprieve. And then it's like reprised at the end of the record. First song, ROD, is really good.
For sure.
Yeah, it's definitely like, it grows on me. It's like, I think it was like one of the albums like when I was really getting into the Fall, and then I just started like binge buying all their records back when they used to be cheap. And that was one of the ones I sort of got towards the end when, you know, when you're just sort of starting to like, all right, I'm getting a bit exhausted like with this band because they have like 45 records. So like I didn't like give it as much listens, and I was like, oh yeah, it's not mid, but I was just like, it's fine, but it's not like my favorite. I was sort of more interested in other albums, and you know, like I go through phases where like certain periods, like sometimes I really like their 2000s stuff, sometimes I like their 90s stuff, sometimes I just want to listen to Grotesque over and over again.
For sure.
And yeah, like, you know, that's what's great about them, is they have all these different eras, like the John Peel quote, like always different, always the same, you know, because of that fascistic like view of Mark Smith, like the way he's just like, he is the fascist dictator of the totalitarian state known as the Fall, and they're always like executing members and bringing, it's like Stalin, you know, like the photo where it's like edited out with the guy missing, you know, like and that's what makes them brilliant. And like, that's what, you know, they're not a band that can, as soon as Marky Smith dies, it's not like, well, the rest of the members can just keep going and like it's the Fall.
No, with Mark dead, like the whole personality and driving force behind the band just sort of evaporate. There can be no Fall without Mark.
Yeah,
because he is ultimately the fucking thing. It's his personality that like shapes all of the sounds you're in any of those fucking.
Hi there, listeners. Sorry to interrupt. We really appreciate you listening to us, but if you'd like to hear more from us, you should check out our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/gettinglit and gain access to our exclusive bonus content, including Back Matter, a special after show where we chat a little bit more informally with our guests, usually about a film or something else related to the main episode. For just $5, you get access to these bonus episodes, as well as the full archive of every episode we've ever done. For more details and to get the most out of your Getting Lit podcast experience, go to patreon.com/gettinglit. Thanks for listening. Okay, back to the show.
Yeah, he's got the vision. And it doesn't matter. He can work with whatever. It's like, if you're like the, you know, the last group of dudes, the dudes, I think you referred to them, the American guys, like they clearly aren't into like post-punk and weirdo avant-garde music. They like sort of seem like they just like kind of like new metal and like, well, maybe not quite new metal, but you know what I mean? Just sort of riffy kind of stuff. Like,
no, for sure. But I mean, this is the thing that Mark would always talk about in interviews, is that like we tried. Weren't into like the art rock type stuff, and specifically like weren't fans of the band. Like, he was always trying to find like very normal ass people to be in that band, because I think there's, even beyond just like him not liking musicians generally, which I think is justified. Musicians as a personality type are generally awful. But beyond that, I think there's a specific thing he was trying to do on the call where I think he was very interested in like trying to reconcile his personal vision with the sounds that just like normal working people were interested in at a given time. And I think that it doesn't always work musically, but it's conceptually very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I think you were the one who sort of pilled me on this as like that they're a folk group. And then it was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Like they don't sound like, you know, it's not the Fairport Convention or whatever, but it's like, you know, like they are working class folk group. They're playing the music. And it can be like any kind of people. He wants normal people. He doesn't want art fags in the band. And once someone starts getting very like full of themselves and thinking they're doing something interesting musically, that's when he kind of fires them. You know, like the most famous is, I guess, after the 80s with the Hanleys and stuff like that. Like,
What? It's the fucking, what is this venue from Brownies, like in 97, where they get into the argument, like at the fucking and then he's like, all right, man, it's over. I just have to hire an entirely new band.
Yeah. And like, it's great. Like, you know, it is again, like, it's like he's constantly Bob Dylan going electric, you know what I mean? He's just disappointing the fans, trying to alienate them. But like, no, in like retrospect, he's a genius and he was correct to do that. Because just imagine if they just stayed the same as they were through the 80s, like as much as you like that, but if they just kept putting out records that sounded like, you know, Hex Induction Hour or something like that, or just like watered down, like, you know what I mean? Like they just sound like Pavement or something like that. Like it would just be, they would have like just probably like fizzled out. Like maybe they would have made more money. Like, cause that was the thing too. It was just constantly like, this band is not generating much of a profit. Like,
for sure.
But you know, he had that vision, and there's really probably by that stage there's not much else he could have done unless he just like became like a BBC like talking head or something. Like, because there's those, you know, those clips where he'll just like be on the like soccer thing reading the soccer scores.
That's what I was about to bring up. Yeah, just have him be like a fucking football commentator or something. That was the only other option.
Well, that's very cool too in the UK that like fucking Sparta FC is like, I think maybe even still, maybe not still, but like they used it for a long time as like kind of like their theme for like the football, like over there.
Yeah.
Like, it's like their like the Gary Glitter song in American like NFL. It's like
for sure, it's insane that happened, but I'm so happy.
Yeah. Dude, that film clip is like one of my favorite film clips of all time too. I don't know if you've seen that.
The one where he's like doing the commentator thing.
Oh no,
like
no, the film
match.
clip to Sparta FC, the actual track, the film clip for it.
Oh, is there like a proper music video to it, or is it just like a live?
No.
Okay, I didn't know there was like a proper. I didn't know there was a proper video to it. Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's great. Everyone listening should watch it. Yeah, it's good. It's just because it's a great track too. Like it's like they have like commercially appealable tracks, and like, you know, obviously like Touch Sensitive got used as like a Peugeot or some kind of like car, I forget what, Renault or something like that. It got used for an ad for that. Like, and you know, that's a pretty like commercially diggable track. And then if you listen to the whole album, it's like normies are not going to like this album, the Marshall Suite, which is, you know, we've talked about before, but that's one of my favorites.
That's one that I need to spend a lot more time on, because I don't think when I first heard it that I liked it that much, to be honest with you. But I need to spend more time on it.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's a different sound to all of them, and that, like, I think it's one of those ones where, like, well, for me, it was kind of one of the first ones, because when I really got into them, I just started buying them on record, and I think it had just been recently reissued, so I bought the record, and so, you know what I mean, when you only have like 3 records, you just tend to play them a lot, but I kind of liked it from the get-go. It sounds very like late 90s. It's, you know, turn of the millennial sound kind of thing, but it's kind of like Death and Dune's All Pigs Must Die, with the sort of like desktop PC kind of like effects and stuff like that. Which I would love a copy of that on vinyl, but it's probably like €500. where are we talking about the fall? Anyway, yeah, watch the Sparta FC film clip. That is a great film clip. I guess anything else to say on the fall or Bend Sinister or anything? You got anything else you want to bring up?
Nothing. Oh, what are you doing with your life?
Sorry, it's just cutting out again.
No, I'm just being an asshole. You do all at this point in your life. But other than that, oh, this isn't related. There's something I was gonna ask.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Just lost Will.
I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Yep. No worries. No worries.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Just had to pull up something I sent to a friend earlier. Have you heard of Linda Smith?
Linda Smith?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Word. Yeah. No. I literally right before we started recording, I just found out about this. But she's like, I guess like it starts in like the late 80s, just doing like this like lo-fi like bedroom pop stuff. And I just listened to like a comp of her shit like right before we started recording. Really good. Highly recommend Linda Smith. Yeah. Just wanted to recommend that just because I was really enjoying your call.
All right.
Yeah.
No. All right. You know, that is a good recommendation from someone with, you know, refined musical taste. I listened to you on everyone should listen to you on Bistro California with Year talking about David Thomas of Pere Ubu. That was great, that episode recently. And, you know, you do discuss it in that episode how they're sometimes kind of referred to as the American fall. And there are comparisons in that way, but, you know, it's not really, it's not a one-to-one.
David Thomas is, well, he can be, or could be, I guess, a crank. He wasn't as much as an out-and-out like this Marquis Smith was, and wasn't as much of a firing musicians every chance he got sort of guy either. But now both Pere Ubu in the fall, he's hugely important to the that can be as he was interested in that and what's to go there.
Yeah. I'm not as versed on Pere Ubu. I have a copy of Dub Housing, which I listen to a lot and I like a lot. And then, but I have a 7-inch of Final Solution, and like the previous owner had drawn this like scene of like a plane, like a sort of like a Spitfire, sort of flight plane kind of thing, like crashing or something. Like I don't know. I don't assume like that's how it.
That's all that they did it for that single and not 30 Seconds Over Tokyo. 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, that's just what that song's about. So they should have done it on that single.
I forgot what the B-side to that one is. But yeah, I
30
need
Seconds
to
Over
listen
Tokyo
to more.
or
Sorry?
the B-side to Final Solution or 30 Seconds Over Tokyo?
Final Solution.
Cloud 149.
Okay. All right. Wow. You know your stuff. Yeah. You can name B-sides to singles. I can't do that with the fall usually. Maybe I don't have that many fall singles to be honest. But yeah, no, I need to, listening to that episode was like, I really need to delve deeper into that band. And I want to do it by like buying the records individually. But yeah, I did listen to like Tenement or the Tenement Years in Cloudland on Spotify, and they were pretty good. And like Yerk edited in the what's the song about the dinosaurs, Petrified or whatever, like a live version. Petrified. I don't know if you listened to the actual episode, but the live version where he's like just like riffing on stage, and he's like, yeah, and it says the Tyrannosaurus like would like, you know, eat it, consume enough to then like lay down under a palm tree and sleep for a week. It's like, you know, the connotations there, right? Like he's like, go where the girls, guys. Like he's like defending this idea that dinosaurs were stupid. Like it's like, no, you're just saying they had like, you know, tiny brains. You don't know. So it's like, it's definitely like a blind spot for me. I need to listen to more Ubu, but I also like that I have this giant catalog that I'm not like over like saturated myself with, because with the fall, like I do get bored of them. You know, you do with your favorite bands. You heard the albums a million times, like the Kinks or whatever. There's times where I'm just like, a Kinks song will come up on shuffle, and I'm just like, skip, not in the mood.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, I've definitely been there. But no, I'm excited for you to get into Pere Ubu. There's a lot there. I think you're gonna have a good time when you finally take the dive. Also, maybe an episode with him on William Blake for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because he knows like a hell of a. I don't know how big of a fall he is. Any pretext for him to talk.
So it's cutting out a little. So you're talking about Yick saying he's a big William Blake fan. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I'm not sure how much he cares about the fall. Like, I think he likes him well enough, but regardless of that,
as a fan as we are, and I've seen him on Twitter, sort of like ripping on like leftists for like being into Mark Smith or something like that. So, but I mean,
yeah,
he has good takes.
He is justified.
Yeah.
He is justified in saying that because those are like a very obnoxious type of guy. But regardless of any of that, like just any context for him to talk about William Blake, I'm sure he would like love to take the opportunity to do that. So you should reach out to him.
Yeah, well, I'm going on Bistro Californium soon, but actually just to discuss some Australian children's novels.
Well, you should bring it up to him when you do that.
But yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll get both you guys on here or something, and we can do something about Blake. Because I know he did do like one of the early episodes of his podcast was with like Logo and about like the Sleep album Dope Smoker and comparing like juxtaposing it with like Jerusalem. Which was very interesting. I find Sleep kind of boring. I'm more of an Electric Wizard fan, which I even said last episode. But you know, I respect I respect that episode for sure. And Yerk's right about the Marky Smith stuff. Like Smith at his worst is like dirtbag left. Like you know, when he's just sort of calling people cunts and stuff like that. Like you know, like not to say he's.
But Mark can get away with it.
Yeah.
But
anyone who's exceptional people get exceptions, you know,
for sure. Not his imitators. They must pay.
yeah. That's it. Like that's the thing. Yeah. Like if I see like a band and it says like influences the fall, I'm kind of like, not a good sign there. You know, like you should have
typically not.
It should be an influence, but you shouldn't say it. Like you should just like
no. It should not be something that's immediately apparent on listening to your shit that you're like, oh, you like the fall.
There are some bands that are. We'll make some exceptions.
Country Teasers is the only exception to that.
For sure, yes.
Yeah, Country Teasers fucking rules.
Yeah. Yes.
Other than that, I'm not sure how many other exceptions.
There's some bands, they're not on the same level as Country Teasers, but like the Shifters and Cool Greenhouse, they're okay and they have clearly like a fall influence. They're not bands I, you know, really listen to a lot, but what I've listened to, I was like, and they're kind of more like, I think the Shifters are kind of a modern Australian sort of garagey pop sort of band, and they just have that plodding kind of sound. You can clearly tell it's a fall influence. And then the Cool Greenhouse, I think, are a UK band. They sort of, again, have that sound. They're a bit twee maybe, but they're okay. Like, but they're not as good as the Country Teasers. Definitely not.
By the way, I haven't had a chance to talk to you because since the last time I talked to you, I've gotten. I don't think I was into the Country Teasers, but I've gotten like way into the Country Teasers.
Yeah.
Since then.
All right, let's talk teasers.
What's your favorite Teasers?
My favorite Teasers album. Probably Satan is real again, but then there are times where I like this 10-inch pastoral, not rustic. Sometimes I like that the most. I like them all, to be honest. Like I think they all have their own. But yeah, I would say probably like just gun to the head. If I had to answer quickly, I'd probably just go Satan is real again.
Word. How about I would Empire Strikes Back.
Oh yeah.
Empire Strikes Back is the one. That record is incredible.
Yeah, that one's really good too. Like sometimes that is my favorite. Like you know, like I because I did an episode of Nice, Big Mac McCarthy's episode. Who was our last guest? But when he was doing his podcast, we did an episode on the Country Teasers, and we were talking about that and like how it's like, you know, like they're this sort of edgy band. They're like saying like the N-word and other crazy sexist things and stuff like that. But like it's funny they're covering like Pink Floyd at the start of that record, but it's the one where like, you know, it probably says the most edgy Pink Floyd shit, you know, like obviously there's being satirical or whatever, but like
I also sorry, I'll let you finish.
Oh, it's just like, it's funny. Like, it's like, they're like, well, you think we're edgy, but this is literally the most popular record in the whole world. Everyone's dad has this record, and it says like, put the N-words and Jews against the wall and stuff like that. There's no crazier than women and children first.
For sure. But no, like, I don't agree with this take, but a take that I've heard Waller from Teasers fucking say that I think is really fucking funny is fucking that Pink Floyd doesn't even get good until like Roger Waters gets divorced. Like, it's not until that point that they have a good material.
Yeah, I don't love the 60s Floyd, the Syd Barrett shit. Like, it's fine. It's good.
I actually kind of only care about the 60s.
Yeah, right.
Regardless, I think Waller is insanely.
I like the song See Emily Play a lot. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, Interstellar Overdrive, those songs are fun. Like, I just never really hardcore, but I think because when I first got into Floyd, it was the like Dark Side of the Moon and the like. My dad had the Wall VHS, and when I was starting to get into like 70s rock when I was like 15, I would just watch that all the time. And you know, it's such a horrifying fucking movie. Like, that,
no,
like,
for sure. I similarly had a phase in high school where I would like watch that over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and, like,
no,
like the Comfortably Numb, where it's like the rat making him sick and then just like melting and shit. I haven't watched it in a real long time, but you know, it's like it's just like this, like if Monty Python was trying to be evil instead of like goofy or whatever.
For sure.
Yeah, that's funny. Wallace said that. Like, I don't know. Like the 60s Floyd stuff is something that one day it could just like click with me real hard. Like, I did buy like a Syd Barrett record, The Madcap Laughs, and I was just like, this is some irritating fucking circus shit. Like, I just couldn't get into it.
I've tried with the solo stuff a couple of times. It hasn't clicked, but it's also been like years since I've tried, so maybe I could revisit it. But I similarly have always suspected that like the Syd Barrett solo stuff is just. It kind of isn't worth it just because he's just an insane person at that point. Like, for the same reason that I'm not particularly interested in, like, the Charles Manson records. You know, it seems like a similar thing to me, frankly.
I like the Charles Manson record Lie more than the Syd Barrett one. Like, he has a couple of okay songs. The Six City and Look at Your Game Girl. Those are okay songs. But, yeah. Okay,
fair enough.
But, I mean, with the Syd Barrett stuff, too, like, Acid Casualty stuff, for me is particularly like depressing, you know.
Oh no, for sure.
I did a lot of acid in my 20s, and like, you know, I would that it were whatever, like, if not for whatever the fucking expression is, you know what I mean? If not for the grace of God, there could be me, kind of thing. Like, so like when I see like an Acid Casualty, I'm just like, I don't want to like live in this universe for long. You know, this is really depressing. That seems like a horrible, like, you ever seen like the Roky Erickson documentary? I think it's called You're Gonna Miss Me.
I'm aware of it, but I never ended up watching it. I was never like a big 13th Floor Elevators guy. Which isn't to say I dislike it, but I just never listened.
They're all right. Like, they're cool. They're historically interesting. The solo Roky and the alien stuff is better. Because, like, and at least his story has kind of a happy ending, sort of. You know, like in the documentary, he's like losing his mind and has to like go to sleep with like a million of these gadgets playing at the same time. Otherwise, like, he needs to get the like electronic waveform right, and then he'll just like pass out. But otherwise he can't. Like, he has to have all of these fucking machines going, like a baby monitor. Yeah, dude, that's like, he did a lot of acid, you know, and 60s acid. Like,
no, I've heard, but just like, I can't even imagine how that actually helps you go to sleep. But
no, it wouldn't help a normal person. And because his mum wasn't helping him, she was keeping him like in this dependent state, whereas like his brother and stuff eventually got custody of him, and they like took him to like, you know, I'm usually against therapy, but in his case it was necessary, or he went to a good therapist, and they got him back to sort of some semblance of normality. Like, he even came to Australia. I saw him in 2012, I want to say, in Sydney.
Yeah.
One of the best shows I've ever been to in my life. Like, and I thought it was going to be a bummer because he like comes out on stage. He's just walking like looks terrified, like a little child who's lost. He puts his arms up over his head, and this, like, someone puts a guitar over him, and then they like put his hands on the strings. And I was just like, oh no, this is gonna be a bummer. Like, and then like they start playing. I think the first song they played was like "Click Your Fingers Applauding the Play." It takes about 30 seconds or so, and you just see like obviously like that rock and roll instinct just like clicks in, and you see like his eyes kind of like just like fully like light up, like, and there's like a ensouled human being all of a sudden standing in front of you. And then it was incredible.
Okay.
It was so like he just had some young dudes and his son as the like backing band, and his son did like a bit of I think a solo set at the like as an opener. It was fine, nothing too crazy, but yeah. And then like it was just like, and I was drunk as fuck in Sydney and holiday, so that helped. But like and it wasn't that many people there, like, so we were like right up close.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And just like, yeah, honestly, one of the best shows I've ever been to. So, like, you know, and then it wasn't long after that, maybe a couple of years later, that he died. But yeah, the point is, like, acid casualty shit tends to be like a huge bummer. The only musician documentary that I think is more sad than that is the Townes Van Sant one.
It's funny you say that, because I was about to bring him up, and they might talk about this in their fucking documentary, and I might just be late to the party on this, but I didn't know that he was initially supposed to be, or at one point might have been like the bass player in like their.
In what?
No, there was a point where like Roky was trying to get Townes to be like the bass player in 13th Floor Elevators.
Oh, no way! I didn't even know that. Yeah. Maybe I was in. I can't remember, but that's wow, interesting connection. Yeah, because like his story is a real bummer. Like that is a sad fucking documentary. Like you haven't seen it, you said, I'm guessing.
No, I haven't seen it. I also have only recently gotten into Townes because I put it off for like so long, just because everyone who pitched it to me made it seem like it was just like sad drunk music, which I did not want to be a part of. Well, to a certain extent it is, but like I've just been listening to like the first 3 albums, and like the first album specifically is like, that just rules. Like it just sounds like fucking it sounds like if Marty Robbins made a Leonard Cohen, which is awesome. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want.
Well, yeah, the crazy thing is because it's like that song "Waiting Around to Die," I think was like his first attempt at writing a song, and it's just like brutally like.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, his lyrics are so good, like so poetic, and like even the songs that are like happy are kind of like sad, like I love the Delta Mama Blues album, Flying Shoes, the first record, Our Brother the Mountain. They're all so, even like his later ones and stuff, like what's it, Highways, some, I forget what it's called, but like his stuff is so good, like just such good lyrics. Like I'm blanking on any good lyrics at the moment, but like people can go listen. But yeah, I think he had like this kind of like indie twee kind of revival in the 2000s where it was like all just like, you know, indie chicks being like, yeah, I like Townes Van Sant, like he's the only country artist I like or whatever. And you get this sort of like, it had like an NPR feel to it, but then you just like listen to it and you're just like, no, this is powerful music.
No, it's very powerful, especially fucking I think it's on the self-titled, but Lungs, my god, that song's incredible. Those lyrics are fucking insane. And
is what's it, Fare Thee Well Miss Carousel, is that on the first one?
I think that's one of the ones that crops up. I think it's on the first one and then also on the third one, because over those 3 albums there's like a lot that like repeat over the course of the 3 albums.
I don't actually have a copy of the first one, but I have listened to it a few times. But
Word.
It's just so good. Like maybe one day we'll do an episode on him or something, because like he just like, there's only a few artists that have ever like made me actually cry listening to them, and he's one of them. Like him,
I can see why. Yeah, that's.
I think this is the full list: Townes, Jonathan Richman, Kanye, and Lana Del Rey, and
that's a good fucking list. That is a great list.
Never made me cry, like, or anything like that. You know, the Falls never made me cry.
Yeah, I haven't been into Townes for long enough for him to make me cry yet, but I'm sure I'll get there. But everyone else on that list, same. It's like, it's
usually the happy songs too, like Brother Flower or something like that, or what's it? Fucking, what's the song called? Nah, I can't remember. Doesn't matter. But it's sort of like a happier song, like, and yeah, just like something about just like that juxtaposition of just how sad this guy's life is, and there's like there is like a sadness that comes through even just with like, you know, the major chords and lyrics and stuff like that. Yeah. Speaking of Kanye, what do you think of his latest crop of releases? Which ones do you like the best?
Trying to think. What's the one that he put out like the full like album length like video to? I'm blanking on the name of it.
Oh,
there was like the kid in like the boxing ring.
I don't even know. I haven't seen him on many of the videos. I just whatever turns up on Spotify is what I've been listening to. I know that like the WW3 album didn't get put on Spotify, and that was the one that had the like Heil Hitler track on it. And then I tried to like find it on like a Pirate Bay, and it wasn't on there. It was some like he'd put up a link to some like weird app you had to pay a subscription to like listen to it. I forget what it's called, but yeah, I don't know. The recent ones he's done, because he did like the 2 Vultures records, and then there was like Donda 2, which I like a lot. I really like Donda 2. I think that's for me.
There's some moments on Donda 2.
Yeah.
There's one moment in particular, but I'm not going to name the track, but I had a good cry to
it was, I reckon it was either Get Lost or Sci-Fi.
No, I was listening to Sci-Fi a lot around that time, though, but no, it wasn't Sci-Fi. I'm not going to answer if you guess it, too.
It still wasn't Get Lost. Well, you're not going to answer.
It wasn't Get Lost.
I like that track a lot. Just like can you still call it a cappella if there's auto-tune? But like, that track I like a lot.
Get Lost is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole record is just like, because that one, like, Vultures are good, but they're kind of like, he's doing like, kind of like, yeah, I'm just going to make some fun records, like, you could play at a party, you know? Yeah. Like,
which
and they're great.
Vultures 1 definitely is that.
Yeah.
Vultures 2 is like the only Kanye thing that I legitimately don't like. There are like a couple good moments on there, but like I was really disappointed by Vultures 2, to be honest.
Yeah, right. Trouble is, too, the Spotify seems to be like making them extra like shitty quality, like the recent ones, like so I just been downloading the FLACs of like Pirate Bay so I could listen to them, because like they just sound really, really low quality on Spotify, and I'm like, this is like, you know, party R&B kind of shit. It should be like really thick bass and stuff, but it's coming through kind of like tinny.
Yeah,
and I have the premium Spotify, so it's not like it's just being, you know, I got the cheap one. So
well, I mean, to be real, I think that might be. I don't think that's necessarily on Spotify's end. That might be just because things seem to have been really disorganized with like, music production stuff lately, which I'm kind of here for because it's like produced some like insane sounding stuff. But at the same time, I want to see him really lock in and fucking do what I know that he's clearly capable of.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like he's operating on a slightly lower level.
I have faith that
you said
he will.
No, same. And there's definitely been good stuff in this sort of era. But you said you haven't watched any of the videos, so you never saw the HH video?
Oh, no, I watched that, of course. Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That was insane.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you've heard about this, but my buddy was telling me the other day that apparently, like, he just did, like, the show in China, and he played, like, Hallelujah, you know, the clean version of that song, and then, like, all the Chinese people in the stadium, like, during the chorus are just screaming Heil Hitler, which is one of the most insane things anyone's ever told me. Like,
people
it's
say he's not
crazy that he's done that. No, for sure. Like, yeah. I don't know how you can see him doing what he's doing right now, even as disorganized as a lot of it is. But, like, the HH thing specifically, just, like, for him to be able to do this, this is clearly demonstrating that he is in some way a genius. I don't know how people are.
HH is on the level with like Liebach at their peak. You know what I mean? Like,
no, for sure. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No. And it's also crazy that people like don't get like any or seemingly want to ignore the irony of any of that or like the fucking Nazi shit that he's been doing the past couple of years, quote unquote. Like that.
Well, that's it. It would have been.
I don't know.
Like,
it's baffling to me.
Yeah, it's like that's what people like. They want to be like, but is he really like an anti-Semite and stuff? And it's like it doesn't matter. But it's like I don't think he really is. I think it is a performance art thing. But then it's like it's hard to fully tell. Like, I think he probably has been Jewed over. So, you know, like,
Right.
there's some of it's real, you know, like,
Yeah.
but like,
But at the same time,
that's what
like
makes
the
it.
the performative element is what overrides any other aspect of it. And there's like a whole thing that he's doing there that, no, it's insane that he's doing.
And he's doing it now. Like just about any other time in history, he would have been able to do it, and people would have got the joke on mass scale, which would have defanged it. And the fact that it's right now, it's like, you know, PC libtard era, like that's what makes it more powerful. And like that's, you know, makes him a genius that he can just do this shit. And then like, and the fact he became like anti-Semitic right before, like basically the Palestine
Israel
issue.
Palestine,
and where it's like mainstream
really
to be anti-Semitic, but yeah, he's still cancelled for it, kind of thing. Like, it's so funny.
It's insane.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I wish you could buy the Heil Hitler as a 7-inch, like, or 12-inch single or something. Like, I don't think any record plant will press it. Maybe Hallelujah they will. I had a look for Donda 2. It seems like there's like an unofficial vinyl release or something. I don't know how one would buy it, but I want it.
I have no idea, but if you get a hold of it, God bless you.
Anyone listening? Well, this thing is too, when he first was like, people were just turned on him. People were selling his records dirt cheap online. Like even now, Donda, I'll see it'll be like $8 People are selling it on Discogs. It's just I have to pay like tons in postage, so it becomes like $80 Australian for me to get it, which is like fair price for a 4 LP record. Really, that's kind of, records are expensive these days. You could, like Lana Del Rey records at like JB Hi-Fi, which is sort of like your cheap kind of like, you know, chain store here. They'll be like $90 for like her records here. Like, so, and
Jesus.
Yeah,
that's insane.
I bought Chemtrails over the Country Club because it's like was only $60, and I won like a $50 voucher at work. So I was like, all right, I only have to pay 10 of my own dollars, and I get Chemtrails.
Hell yeah.
You're a Lana fan too?
Yeah.
What
Lana's real good.
What is your favorite? I was gonna say, what is your favorite Lana album or song?
This feels annoying to say, but just fucking the most recent one, Ocean Boulevard, is legitimately my favorite one.
Great.
It genuinely seems like everything she's doing has just gotten progressively better, with maybe some dip like early on, but like from like fucking NFR like onward, it's just like better and better, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. I'm really down for like a more straightforward like country record for her. I think it's gonna kill. The singles have been great.
Yeah, I haven't listened to the new singles yet. Like, I haven't listened all the way through to every Lana record. I sort of just get on one, binge on it for a while, and then when I sort of think it's time to move on, I'll check out another one. You know, I'm not like, I remember when Video Games came out in 2012 or whatever, I was like, this is a good song, but like I kind of just like never delved into her, and I sort of and then like after a while, I think it was just like Perfume Nationalist and stuff being like doing episodes, and I was like, yeah, I probably should check this stuff out. And then was just like, oh, because I'm not a poptimist at all. I don't really like give a shit about Taylor Swift or any of that stuff. Like, it's never like appealed to me. But like Lana, I'm like, oh yeah, this stuff is sick.
Similarly, like the only like sort of optimist adjacent person that I like really give a shit about would be like Charlie XCX, but even that seems like a distinct thing. But similar to you, like I only recently, like within the last, since moving to North Carolina, got into Lana, just because all of my friends down here are like huge Lana fans. So I finally like just did a listen through, and just it's great. She's literally the female Morris.
Yeah.
So like what, I have to on principle like her. And it's just a nice convenience. The music is also incredible. Yeah.
I NFR, which you bring up earlier. Yeah, that's such a good record too. Like, and I was in a record store and they had a second-hand copy for $50. But the reason I didn't buy it was because I found too many records I wanted, so I bought none. Like, I found this Les Release de New Day record I didn't have. I found Kanye's Yay, which I actually like that record. I know people don't really like that one, but I do like that one.
I need to spend more time with that one, but the opening track, if nothing else, is incredible.
And Leibach's Opus Dei, which I used to own but then sold, and so I needed to get a new copy. So I had this thing where I had like 5 records that I wanted, and because I wasn't going to spend like $400 to get them all, I was kind of like, I just got none. And I'm always like, every day I'm like, I should have bought the fucking Lana record.
No, I've been there though, record shopping, because if I fucking am there just on my own or like without someone else's supervision, I'll just accumulate shit and just like by the time like I'm done, I'll just like have an insane stack. It's just like, okay, I can't afford any of this, and just have to put it all back.
Yeah, it's a thing. Like once you know you could have had it, like sometimes it's like I should just be like the first one I find that I like, I just gotta buy. I think if I go to a record store next, I'm just going to go straight to the P section and see if they got any Ubu. And then, like, if they have, you know, anything that I don't, other than dub housing, I'm going to just buy it and then get out of there. Records are so expensive these days. Like, they used to be, like, average $30 a record. Now they're, like, minimum $50, like, if not much more, which eventually that market's going to crash, I hope. And then I'll be able to scoop in and fucking... Although it is kind of good at some things. I did recently sell a Ramones record for $300.
Nice. Which one?
Mondo Bizarro, and a reissue, like a 2012 reissue, which I would have bought for $35 or something.
Damn.
It is a good record, but it's like, I don't need it on record. Like it's
and that's like one of the later ones too. That's like a 90s one, right?
Second last one, I think. Yeah, it's
Okay.
It's got the best song on it is Strength to Endure.
Okay, word.
Yeah, I've still got a copy. It's up for sale for $350. Mondo Bizarro, which is Adios Amigo, which is their last record, and it's good too. Like they always have like one track that I hate on a Ramones record. There's always just like, especially if it's like Dee Dee singing or something like that. I'm just like skip, which you can't do it. So I'm like, I'm fine to just add these to my Spotify like list. And the one Ramones record I will never sell is Halfway to Sanity. I know we're talking about thuggish music, but I like Ramones in their thug mode, like Too Tough to Die and Halfway to, like when they get like Joey puts on the tough voice, I'm really into it. And like they just have such a good guitar tone, which is like, you know, like there's like Killed by Death compilations, like they have this big promise of like, it's like punk but gritty but kind of slowed down, and then you listen to the compilation like this sucks, like. And I think it's in part because of like the bootleg quality of it, whereas like maybe if you had the 7-inch, it would sound dope. But like I'm always like disappointed by KBD stuff. But yeah, no, I did one stage get really into Ramones and just bought at one stage I had every one of their studio albums on vinyl and a bunch of like bootlegs, and I have a bootleg that has the Happy Birthday Mr. Burns on it. Yeah. Yo. It's weird. It's called like where is it? Somewhere around here. It's called like Watch You Headbanging, and it's also like a split with like Johnny Thunders or something, like a bootleg. Yeah, this. It looks like shit. Ramones, Johnny Thunders, and then it starts like
I actually kind of fuck with that cover.
Yeah, but it has like I think it has the like Blondie. Yeah, it's got like Deborah Harry, Standing in My Way, Joey, and then Punk Boy Joey and Helen Love, and some other stuff like some demos and shit. Like some of their like demo versions of their tracks where they're just a bit slower or something sound really good, and they're like really like gritty, kind of like 7-inch recording quality kind of thing. So some of those bootlegs are pretty sick. But yeah, I don't need every Ramones album because there's a lot I just like never listen to, and they're sort of like. Yeah, I like sort of tracks more than whole albums with them generally. But the first album's solid. The first. Yeah,
I mean, if I want to listen to the Ramones, I'm just going back to that first record.
Yeah.
But there are definitely songs for sure after that are really interesting, especially like something like "Howlin' for the Moon," where they're doing stuff with like synths.
Yeah,
I wish there was more of that type of material because I don't know, it gets into a very interesting zone that almost sounds like John Mouse.
Yeah, like I think like Bonzo Goes to Bitburg has the synths too, right, and stuff like that. Yeah. No, they're a good band. Like I remember when I first heard them, like they were a disappointing thing because I was like 16 years old or 15 or something, and I thought they were going to sound like Led Zeppelin or something, like because they were always in guitar magazines as like one of the greatest guitarists of all time, Johnny Ramone, and you're like, wait, this is like kind of campy and like boppy, and and then eventually no, that's what's sick about it is like it's like power.
No, 100%, yeah.
Like I like that like power pop sort of punk thing if it's done right. Like there's lots of annoying versions of it, but like like Paul Collins beat and the Nerves, that kind of shit. That's sick.
And people don't talk about it enough, but the first Cheap Trick album.
Yeah.
It's very much in that zone.
Yeah, for sure. They're good. Yeah. They have good film clips too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Whoa, it's just come through with some like garbled.
My headphones just fucking disconnected. Hold on.
Well, I can hear you on the phone thing.
No,
we're probably nearly ready to wrap up anyway.
Yeah, probably a good call.
Oh, I'm sure we could probably just prattle on about bands we like for another hour.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Well, I was like, anything else you've been listening to lately other than Linda Smith?
Mostly I've just kind of been re-listening to The Doldrums by Ariel Pink over and over again.
Okay.
Yeah. Great record. I recommend if you haven't heard. I've not
really got into Ariel Pink. Like, I just haven't listened to him that much.
Okay.
Like, so The Doldrums, you reckon that would be a record to check out?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Is that a
weird lo-fi record? Yeah. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's really good. You should check it out.
Actually, this is something I've wanted to ask you about for a while. So you're from Columbus, Ohio, right?
I'm from a small town like an hour south, but yeah, I was living,
close enough.
I was living in Columbus when I first met you online. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So do you know the record label Columbus Discount Records?
No, I don't. No. What's up with them?
They were like, like in the 2000s, there was kind of that like scuzzy, like garage punk kind of revival thing, but it was sort of like weirdo coded and like like Jay Retard sort of that ilk, but then like even Country Teasers would be considered like a forerunner to it. And there was a lot of Australian bands popular in that scene at the time, like UV Race and Eddie Current, Suppression Ring, and but yeah, the Columbus Discount Record thing, it was literally like a club you could subscribe to, and they would just send you 7-inches like every month of the year.
Okay.
And like some of them are whatever, but some of them are fucking so good. Like it's like I reckon you should try to check out some of that stuff. Like, I don't know, do you ever know the band Psychedelic Horse Shit? You ever listen to them?
No, I haven't. No.
They're cool, yeah.
Okay.
Like they like, is a lot of it has like it'd be irritating as fuck to some people because it's like kind of like lo-fi tinny production, but with like psychedelic synths and like, do you ever listen to like No Bunny?
No, I don't know who that is. No.
Yeah, okay, that's all right. Yeah, like, yeah, I reckon you probably. I was just curious if you knew about the Columbus Discount Record stuff, because they have, it's not all good, but like when they are good, and they did do like release, it's kind of like Silk Breeze Records, like they're sort of in that same, you'd know Silk Breeze, right?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff, like the Sick Alps kind of, which I only think the Sick Alps really have one good song, Semi Streets, but they're not bad. They do a good cover of Throbbing Gristle's United, actually.
Oh,
which caused me to spaz out on acid one time.
You were spazzed out on acid listening to that, or?
Yeah. It made me made me start doing this like weird like movement thing, like which I think fucked my neck up kind of thing. Like I just put it on the turntable, and it had like the way they did it was like they drilled the like 7-inch hole where like it goes on the spindle. They made it extra wide so you couldn't like get it on straight, and so it would always give the song a bit more of like a warped kind of. And it's just like it's not like electronic. It's just like straight up garage punk cover of it.
Okay.
But it's like, I mean, it's the only good Throbbing Gristle cover I've ever heard. Not that probably a lot exist, because there would be a weird band to cover.
I'm trying to think.
You can imagine there's some like ukulele chick doing like a cover of like Hot on the Heels of Love or something like.
We can't. I hate that you just spoke that into existence. Why would you do that now?
No, sorry, yeah.
But I'm blanking on what song it is, but I know the fucking Melvins do a cover of some TG song that I remember not being half bad.
Oh, do they?
But I can't remember what fucking song it is.
I probably didn't even clock it as like a cover. of that.
Well, no, I don't think it's like on one of their records. I think it's like on some like compilation of like a bunch of people like covering like Throbbing Gristle songs, and they just have one cover on there.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I always want to say it's Hamburger Lady, but I don't think that's right.
Yeah. Imagine it would be something along those lines. Yeah. All right. I'll have to check that out. I mean, I used to really be into the Melvins. They're a band I kind of got bored of, and I've seen them 3 times, and the last time I saw them, I was kind of like, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I can't imagine going to see them live. But they're, especially like the early records, I liked a whole lot when I was like in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Houdini, like Ozma, that shit's really good.
For sure.
Eggnog, EP, all that shit, the Bullhead.
Yeah.
Like even their later stuff is good. Once, I think around A Senile Animal is probably the last record that I liked. After that, it was like that band Big Business, so they had like 2 drummers. And like it just got a bit like annoying sounding to me. And I maybe you like this stuff, but I could not get into Phantomas. That irritated the fuck out of me.
I kind of only care about like the first like Mr. Bungle record, and like beyond that, I kind of don't give a shit about anything Mike Patton does. Like he's very talented, like technically, but I just don't like the overall sort of aesthetic vibe he has going on.
Yeah.
But fucking there's nothing. The only like later Melvins things I've really listened to is just on one of the albums they have like a cover of Station to Station that they do with Jim Thirlwell from Vetus. But I've only listened to that more so because I'm a huge like Thirlwell fan.
That'd be on the Crybaby, right? There was those 3 albums. There was like the Bootlicker, the Crybaby, and
no, it's a more recent one than that. I can't.
Oh, really?
But it like came out in like the mid 2010s, I think. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, okay. I probably haven't heard it then. I think Nude with Boots was the last one I listened to, and I was like, I'm good. Or the one, maybe there's one after that with this like the red cover with like a chihuahua or something on it.
It would have been a little bit after that one, because like I'm young enough to where I don't think I listened to that record, but like that's the record where I like just entirely stopped paying attention after that. Because I saw that cover and just like, I'm good actually. I don't need to check out what's going on here.
Yeah. I used to have an original copy of Ozma, and I sold it for way not enough money. I mean, I think I still probably got like $80 for it, but I think I guarantee if I tried to look it up now, it'd be like $250 or something minimum.
Yeah, true.
Which that's sick. Like that's just, like, yeah, great sort of deadhead, like bedroom stoner shit.
Oh,
like,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say there is one of their 2000s or 99 record. I don't think it's the Bootlicker or the Crybaby, but it's the other one of that trilogy. Maybe it is one of those, but it's the first one they put out of that. That album's really good.
Okay.
And it's annoying, the CD though. It's like you can't put it on shuffle because it would be like each song was broken into 2, but like and then they'd be labeled like the name of the song, Everyone Loves Judy in lowercase, and then it'd be like in uppercase for the second half of it.
Okay.
But like it's not like there's a clean split. It just would. So some CD players will do that like 2 seconds gap between songs.
Yeah.
So if you do that, it would fuck up the song. And they always did the thing with their CDs where they would like the front cover would be on the back of the jewel case because that's the bigger side.
Yeah. I forgot about that, but yeah, they did do that.
And they did funny things like they wanted to get out of their contract with Atlantic Records, and they still had like to do 3 more records or something, and so they put out these dog shit records. Like they'd have a couple of okay songs on them, but for the most part they'd just be like real just shit and like sound bites from movies and things like that.
Yeah.
And so like those records would be like hard to like. I remember even trying to find them on CD. I'm blanking on the title of it, but it was like I had to spend like $50 on like an eBay auction to get the CD. And then when I finally got it, and I was like, yeah, I like that song, but the rest of it's kind of like not really worth listening to again.
No, for sure.
I want to say it was something called, but
it's something. I think the one you're talking about is maybe it's something Colossus. I think is like the title, but it's the one that's like almost like entirely like an electronic album, right?
Oh, That yeah,
Or is that a
that's I
different
know the
one?
one you're talking about. That's again, I think that's on Ipecac. I think that's them just doing a noise record.
Yeah.
That's listenable for sure. Like it's like your sort of Royal Trucks Twin Infinitives. So it's like the Lost Mode record sort
Yeah.
of thing. No, it's got a name, something like I think it's called like Hick or something like that.
Oh,
I'll just
wait.
pull up.
Are you thinking? Is it Stag? Is that the one you're thinking of?
No, Stag's a good record. Stag is actually the one I was thinking of that referring to earlier when I said Hostile Ambient Takeover that had Skin Horse on it.
Okay.
No, Skin Horse is on Stag.
Word.
Stag is I'm just gonna pull up their discography because why not? If people are still listening to us by this stage, then you know, they're down for some music horsing. Yeah, what is it? Fuck, they have a lot of records. Again, it's like the Fall. It's like, you know, probably more records than the Fall.
Yeah.
I gotta pull up their Discogs so it's in order. I just got like the Google like most popular. Not that it really matters what it's called, but I really want to know now. It's sort of like Stoner Witch was like on you know, Atlantic, and that's the one a lot of people like, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think for some reason, like people, I've never heard the vinyl record, but people reckon like the vinyl, if you get Stoner Witch on vinyl, it just sounds awful, like really tinny.
Okay.
Well, it's hard to have a conversation and look at your phone, so I'm not going to worry about it. Whatever that record is called, it is
not good.
it's just funny that it's not great. It has like one or two good songs on it, but the rest of it is not good. But like, it's just funny that that's what they did to get out of their contract. They're like, all right, well, you want us to make more records? We'll just put out bullshit like that no one's going to want to, that's not going to sell. It's like, you know, like Lou Reed's Metal Machine Music or whatever, people just like take it back to the store.
That is a good record though.
I don't mind it, yeah. I haven't listened to it a lot, but like the Rare Candy recently did like a Lou Reed Velvet Underground episode, and you know, Glenn's got more like non-avant-garde tastes, which totally, like, I would think it was weird if he was into like Metal Machine music.
No, that would have really taken me aback if he was down with that.
Yeah.
Record. Like I wouldn't have
So
known
I was
what
like,
to do with that.
Yeah, I would be like, that makes sense that he doesn't like that record.
Yeah, for
like, he doesn't even like the Bells, which I'm like, I think the Bells is all right. But again, you know, I like the fucking, you know, the early Velvets and shit like that too.
Yeah.
You know, we're like, you know, into like avant-garde fag music or whatever. So like,
yeah, for sure.
like it's like once like there's this weird guy on Twitter, like I can't tell if he's retarded or like just like being a troll. I think he's might be a bit retarded or something, but he always just comments weird shit. And once like I went on Rare Candy, because my name on Twitter is New Face in Hell, which is a Fall song, and he's like, "What? Rare Candy likes the Fall? This is blowing my mind." And I was like, I just have a Fall username. I don't think they're into it. And he's like, "Oh, you should totally get Glenn and Cy into it." I'm like,
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it'd be their thing.
I don't know how you can listen to that show and not understand that's not happening with those guys.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna like it, and I don't want to be like, "Come on, dude, you gotta like." If someone's just like, they were like, "Yeah, bro, this sucks," I'd be like, "Yeah, no, that's
makes sense.
That's the expected
It makes sense. You
take."
feel that way.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, unless you got anything else to add, might wrap it up. But yeah, any final thoughts on Bend Sinister?
Just that it's a good.
Well, I guess we're entering it there. Seems to have frozen. Yep. All right. Well, that was good timing. Anyway, thanks for listening. See you later.
I still get lost in that. Lost in my trading trip. Memories back on fire. Back to get all my bag. I'll still get lost from time. Memory back on time. Hold my thoughts all in mine. Hold my thoughts all in mine. I still get lost in that. Memory back one night. Remember we had one night. Remember we had the night. I still get lost sometimes. Memories hard to mind. Remember we had the mind. Remember we had the mind. I ain't gon' get lost in time. Remember we popped from fire. Fine went to fine, oh fine. When you was mine, oh mine. Dump up them doctor meats. Now you think out the streets. Bumped on without the none. Buckle without the cleats. Bumped up from on repeat. Bomb up for night I beat. I know I'm like to see. What a new sight to see. What you were right for me. What look was right for me. I did what's right for me. I fought from right for me. Well, I would like to see. I still get lost sometimes. How about you stay on mine? Stay on the rise survive. When do I cross your mind? When do you see my mind? I've got a eye to shine. Bright is another line. Okay, well never mind. Okay, then never mind. Do I still cross your mind? If not, then never mind. If not, then never mind.